Hey guys, so I'm sure all of us as resellers have those items that have been listed a really long time and for some reason or other just have not sold yet. Now, I have a lot of listings that I view as stale and I do have plans for them. They might be stale listings as far as I don't expect them to sell quickly. They're kind of just waiting for the right buyer. Or yeah, there's ones that maybe we just picked up super cheap, like at our little bins, and we threw it up there and we knew the demand wasn't going to be that great. So we do end up culling those after a while because we really don't want a lot of these stale listings pulling down the activity in our eBay store, and that can have a negative effect on even our more popular listings. So anyway, that's my theory. So what I'm doing today is I'm focusing more on items that I feel should have sold or I think were interesting or unique or whatever. And I'm going to take a second look at those listings and I'm going to try to figure out why haven't these sold yet. Okay, some of it might be emotional just because I have some kind of attachment to the item, or I'm just stubborn and I think it's an awesome item and I think it should have sold already. So I'm not talking about the old, stuff that you're like, why did I even list this in the first place? I'm kind of focusing on some things that I really would like to see go to a new home. So today I have 5 items in front of me and we're going to take them one at a time. And we're just going to look at some of the things you can do to maybe kind of get your item in front of fresh eyes, boost the listing a little bit, and see how it goes from there. So some of the things you can do, I'm going to pop up a list right here, but some of the things you can do is you can tweak your title. You can maybe check out keywords, look for better keywords, or just rearrange the wording in your title. You can take new pictures. You can end the item, relist the item so that it comes up as a fresh item on eBay. All of these things kind of might be all done together too. So as you end the item, then you might want to tweak your title, add some new pictures, or even not even just maybe take a new picture, but just change out your thumbnail, like maybe swap the order of the pictures or something like that. And then research the prices again. Like a couple of these things I know I've had listed for several years, and I just need to look again at sell-through rate and pricing, and I could be totally off on my pricing. Move the item off of eBay to another platform or cross-post it. So those are always options. And then maybe, I don't know, run an auction. We don't do a whole lot of auctions, but it's just an idea to kind of, maybe you're going to drop your price, run an auction, and maybe it'll be gone that week, So it is an option just to kind of move some inventory. So like I said, I've got 5 listings, 5 things that I pulled out of storage physically so I could take a look at them and make sure that they're still in good condition and everything like that. And we're going to start with the very first item is this set. And you'll have to excuse the dust. Obviously, everything would get dusted, would get cleaned up and everything before we shipped it. But these are vintage steak knives. And as you can see, they're by, is it backwards? It's upside down. Lifetime Cutlery. And they are new old stock is how I would describe them. Now the handles are a faux horn, but they're actually Bakelite. So I did test that at the time of listing. So I just was like, I cannot resist anything new old stock. It's really hard for me. That's vintage, right? And, I just picture the department store or the little 5 and dime or whatever this was that this was in. And somebody bought it and then never ended up using it. Or maybe it was a wedding gift or I don't know, something like that. So I think let's take a look at the listing. We're going to take a look at the listing. We're going to look at the title and all that kind of stuff. We're going to look at our pricing. We'll look at our sell-through rate. We'll look at how much action it's getting right now on eBay, and we'll see what we can do. Okay. Okay, so here is our listing. As we can see, my title is Faux Horn Bakelite Handled Steak Knives Lifetime Cutlery Serrated New Old Stock. It's got kind of a weird pricing on it right now. There was something that happened in my eBay store at some point where I ran a sale, and it was almost like the sale prices didn't change back. You know, they just kind of ended up relisting or staying at the last price they were at. So it's only a few items that happened to, and so it's just kind of weird. I just kind of ignore it when it, you know, it's mostly items that I'm fine with the lower price that it was at. So these might have been originally $34.99, and I have free shipping, so I'm going to change that because I don't like doing free shipping anymore. Right away, I'm looking at the title, and I think what I'll do is I'll move the brand Lifetime Cutlery because it does have some name recognition. I'll put that up towards the front, and I might take out New Old Stock. Looking at the knives in person, they do say jewel edge stainless on the blade, so that might be something that is a selling point. They also say made in the USA, so I might switch out New Old Stock and add made in the USA. That could be a good selling point. So let's look at Worth Point. I do a ton of my research on Worth Point. I have never regretted paying the subscription for Worth Point. I sell vintage, and so you just get so much information from the site, not just pricing, but sometimes information from other people's listings, and it goes back a lot further than eBay and Terapeak. And so I've used WorthPoint for years and years and years, and I am totally good with that. So I think I have I have to look, but I think I do have a link if you want to try it out. I'm not quite sure at this point what the deal is. I have to look at it, but just down in the description, I'll put whatever kind of link I have for that. Anyway, so let's look in here and I'm going to do faux horn knives. I just want to see in general the selling prices of this, no matter what the brand. So, okay, this is a different brand. 6 sold for $18. That one's more like a carving set. 6 sold for $12. This is kind of like what we have. There's 6 for $16. Let's see if we can... Okay, here's a Lifetime Cutlery one. They sold theirs for $40, but they have the carving set and 6 knives. Let's see. I can probably show more than 20 on each page, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. Okay, here's 4 Regent Sheffield for $15. So I'm kind of getting the idea that I'm definitely, here's Lifetime Cutlery 8 for $15. Okay, so that is telling me right now that I am overpriced on mine. Even though I have this cool box, 4 of them are just not selling, are not going to sell for $30 when people can get more. So I looked at my stats. The past 30 days, I've only had 1 view on this, and I have 1 watcher from who knows how long ago. My first thought too was to move this to Etsy because I'm focusing on flatware and utensils on Etsy. So I thought that would be a good place to put it. And it turns out it's already there. So that's not a solution. But when I looked at the listing on Etsy, it only has it had only gotten 2 views in the last 30 days. So if we look at just eBay in general, if we go to, what was it called? Okay, Lifetime Cutlery Knives, and then I'll just throw a horn in there. There's mine right away. There's some other new ones, see, even cheaper. Okay, so my price is definitely too high. And there's only been 5 sales. 4 of them sold for 10. And then there's that one we saw on Worth Point as well. Okay, so the sell-through rate is not so hot on there either. So my plan, I think, going forward is to end this listing. I'm going to relist it at maybe 20 is where I'm going to start it, I think. I'm going to rearrange the title and add in those keywords that I was talking about. And I don't know if I need to change the photos. I did take these a long time ago. But maybe like make that one the thumbnail so you can see the handles very clearly and brighten it up a little bit. And maybe add a picture that's clearer of what it says on there. If I look down in my description, my item specifics seem pretty okay. I repeat my title, 4 steak knives are new old stock. The box reads this. So I don't even mention what it says on the blade, so that's not good. But I did test the Bakelite. Anyway, okay, so I've got measurements and everything like that. So I think I'll just tweak the listing, end it, tweak it, add some better pictures, change the price by dropping it, and then I will cross-post it again to Etsy. And I may possibly also cross-post it to Poshmark and just get some more eyes on the listing. Okay, so that's the first one done. Okay, so that's the first one done. The next one is, and I'm going to try to go through these a little faster. I really don't, my videos have been super long lately. I appreciate all you guys who are faithfully watching, but I'll try to make this video a little shorter. Okay, so this is the next one, and I just think she is adorable. Now, her little head comes out, and I'll tell you what she is if you can't guess. Okay, so she's got holes up here. So there's some kind of shaker because there's a cork, right? A little shaker. But, you don't want to put anything down there because you're never going to get it out. But she's got the bowl. So basically what it is, it's a salt cellar. The salt would go in here and you could put the pepper in her head. So she'd be on the table and you grab your salt, shake your pepper. Anyway, she is by Lars Seiberg, and she's made in Denmark. So yeah, if you couldn't already tell, it's Danish, Scandinavian, mid-century, all these things that I thought was a no-brainer she was going to sell like immediately, right? She's been listed so long, and I have had her on Etsy, and I've had her on eBay, and I don't know. So I was looking at some of, to make this video, I was looking at some of the research, and yeah, anyway, she's not as popular as I thought she would be. So anyway, let's just look at the listing and let's figure out what we can do with her. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's our listing. You can see our title, Lars Seiberg, salt cellar, pepper shaker, girl figurine, Matilda, made in Denmark. I have her priced at $50. I right away looking at this, I think I want to redo my photos. I think she's a little blurry in some of these. I don't even really show the fact that, well, you can kind of see the cork there. But anyway, these were taken a long time ago. I think when we lived in a different state even. And so I didn't have that photo set up since we've lived here in Montana. Anyway, okay, she's a little too blurry, I think. We look down here. She's about 6 inches tall. Her name is Matilda after the original painter of the figurines. The head is a pepper shaker, bowl is for salt, no chips or cracks, signed on the bottom. Okay. So I've got shipping on there. You know, she's going to take a little bit of packaging. I do have make an offer, so there's a possibility there for people to offer a lower price. I've had one watcher, but I have one watcher who's been there for a while, but I haven't had any views at all in the last 30 days. So when I look at worth points, we've got Lars Seiberg. Now I will search with the name, and there's only 10. Okay, so there's the salt and pepper shaker. Back in August was the most recent sale. $22. So I have it defaulting, my search defaulting to most recent. So we can see, you know, what the current prices are going for. These next two are vases. This one sold for $28 a couple of years ago. You can see the sales are few and far between. 2019 sold for $20. Another one, well, that's a candle holder. So this one did sell for $49. That was 2019. And this one sold for $40 back in 2015, and this one sold for $50 back in 2013. So it could just be the demand has gone way down for this type of Danish pottery. Anyway, so then we look at eBay itself. Let's look at, you know, and it's true that there might be some more listed without the name Matilda. I don't know. I'm not going to go that in depth. Let's see. We want to search. Okay, Lars Seiberg Matilda again. Oh, we're still in solds. Yikes. So we don't, these other things that are showing up are not related at all. So we have one sold at auction. The one like mine. So there's like a pair, I mean. And they only got one bid, $13. And there's mine listed. There's several others listed at 40, 50. Well, not several. There's just a couple others listed, and they're only slightly lower than mine. And who knows, they might have tried to base their pricing off of mine. So our sell-through is not that great. We need to drop our price for sure. We need to end the listing and make a new listing with new photos. I do not have it active on Etsy at the moment. As I've said, my Etsy shop, I've kind of changed gears on it as far as which direction I want to go. And so it's mostly utensils and flatware and kitchen gadgets and things like that. So I'm not going to put that back on Etsy. So we're going to give eBay another go, and then I'll just go ahead and cross-post it. I think I'll cross-post to Posh, and then maybe I'll even cross-post to Mercari. You just never know. With a lower price, somebody just might think it's super cute. Otherwise, after another little bit of time, I think I might just keep her. I don't know. I can't donate her. That's just goes against my grain. So, okay. So that's the decision we've made there. Let's give eBay one more go with new pictures and new information and a new price. Okay, so Matilda is sorted, but I have to move on to Vera. So if you're a vintage dealer or seller, you probably know the name Vera Newman, and there's often, you know, a lot of scarves and things like that. But she also did some linens. I've sold some of her napkins and things. So when I found this bath towel, I thought, oh, for sure, somebody's going to buy that, because actually vintage towels are actually a, you know, collectible. People have been buying and dealing in vintage towels recently. So I thought, oh, that's super easy. So I've got this towel, And it's super clean. It's by Burlington. And the signature is right there and everything. So I've had this listed for way too long and I need to figure out what to do about it. So let's go look at the list. Okay, so first thing I'm thinking, well, let me just let you know, I've got 3 watchers on the towel. So it has gotten some interest, and in the last 30 days, 4 people have looked at it. You know, and I should mention all along that, you know, anytime I get watchers on all of these items, I've sent offers and things like that too. So I have tried to do what I could do there. I can change out my thumbnail is maybe what I'm thinking. I did want to show the whole piece, but maybe that doesn't quite work because there's so much extra white space in this thumbnail. So I was looking at some of the others and I thought, well, maybe if I brighten this one up a little bit, not too much because the pattern itself is muted. You don't want people to get the wrong idea, but, you know, sharpen this a little bit and maybe just use that as my thumbnail and people could see what the pattern is right away. I can also, so as I do that, I'm going to end it. I'm going to relist it, sell similar. And then I was shocked that this had not ever been cross-posted. So this has never been on Poshmark or anywhere like that that might actually be interested in it. And then there's also one other spot. There's on Facebook, there are some linens, sheets, kind of selling groups. And I might be able to just pop it on there and see if I can just do more of a direct sale. So that's an option as well. But let's take a look at, let's just go to eBay first. We've got Vera Towel. Oh, look, I already researched it. So Vera Towel poppies. There's mine right away. Here are some similar ones. You know, there's not many exactly like mine, but these are ones that have poppies. All around a similar price to me. And so my price isn't completely out of line, but let's look at solds. And there's only this one sold, okay, in the last 90 days. So that's not a good sign. This was 2 towels sold for $37.49. You know, so that's going to be less than $20 a piece, more like $18. So yeah, my price might be a tiny bit higher, but I'm sure I have even sent that out as an offer. And that, you know, these that sold have a very striking pattern. I could see that. I'm not surprised that those sold. So our sell-through is not that great on eBay. So we are going to cross-post for sure. And I think that might actually be what solves this problem. Let's go on to number 4. Okay, we'll see what we can do with Vera. Now, this one I definitely know is probably one of my oldest listings, probably ever. It's a vase. You can see the pattern on it. I just think it's awesome. It's got a very awesome mid-century look to it. It is made in Sweden. Years ago, I asked on Facebook in a group or something like that, and they identified the mark on the bottom. It says AAS, which is a mark for Alling sauce or Allingsas or something like that. I can't pronounce it. But it's like a ceramic, I think it was a ceramic factory or group or something like that. Now, a lot of times there are vases from that factory that can be attributed to a certain artist, like Ulla Winblad or something like that. And those can actually sell really high. Now, without an artist, I think that's actually what has kept this from selling. I just think it's just pretty, right? And I wouldn't even mind keeping it. It's the pink and green just, you know, hasn't quite ever fit into any of my spots in my home or anything like that. But anyway, So let's take a look at the listing. I know my listing price is too high, but you just never know when you need to keep it high and find the right buyer who comes along. So let's take a look at the listing. Okay, so here's my listing. Alingsås Ceramic Swedish art pottery vase, pink and green, 10 inches, mid-century vintage. I have it for $70, but I do have make an offer on there, and I have sent offers out. And I will say this has not only been on eBay. I'm pretty sure this started out on Etsy, and it started out on Etsy for a long time, and then I decided it needed to get moved over to eBay to get a bigger audience. I have redone the pictures, I think one other time. Anyway, I suppose I could try to take the pictures again or just get a new thumbnail. I don't know. It kind of shows the pink as deeper than it really is. My price obviously is not going to sell at this price. I might add the letters AAS in the title. I probably should have done that. So I've had 4 visits in the last 30 days on eBay. There's 2 watchers, but I don't know how long they've been watching. I'm going to drop the price, and then I guess I'll just go ahead and cross-post it everywhere. It's like I said before, I don't really have a spot on Etsy to put it anymore, but I could, unless, well, I don't know. There might be an option for that in the future. So I'll try Poshmark, I'll try Mercari, possibly, and as long as the vase might be too heavy for Poshmark, so I gotta double check that before I list over on Poshmark. Anything over 5 pounds needs an upgraded label, and the seller usually has to pay the upgrade for that. So I try to keep things under 5 pounds on Poshmark. So if we look at WorthPoint, I had already pulled this up before I started recording again. You can see the kinds that have sold. There's this one. It's got an artist name attached to it. That one has a crazy picture, but it's sold for $29. This one, Alla Wimblad, hers even sold for just $35. I think I've sold one of hers before in the past. Another similar one. And we can see prices. Alla Wimblad has a $65 one. $27, $15. See, even that one's awesome, and it only sold for $15. $55. A set of 3 small ones only sold for $30. So yeah, I'm thinking my price is just too high. This one's kind of cool, but it's cooler than the one I have, and it sold for $64. This one is probably the most similar. Blue and white striped. Mine has a little bit more pizzazz going on. They use bulb shaped, and they said 70s. They threw the name Alla Wimblad in there, but they're not positive. So anyway, okay, yeah, so they're not sure, but they sold for $25. So I'm thinking, and that was in the UK, actually, now that I'm looking at it. So yeah, I'm thinking I might have to, if I drop the price kind of drastically down to $25, and then just see what happens from there. Obviously it's another piece I probably can't bring myself to donate. And I'll just maybe find a spot in my bedroom or someplace to put it. But anyway, maybe we can move it on to someone who has just the right spot and just doesn't want to spend a whole lot, because shipping will probably be a little bit high for an item, a breakable item that is that large. So, okay, so that's the plan for that one. New listing, drop the price, cross post, and see what happens. Okay, last item is this tie rack. Again, you're gonna have to excuse the dust. It would all get cleaned before it got shipped. I've had them in boxes, stuff in boxes, but they're not airtight or anything like that. So this this tie rack, now I have it listed as Sirocco, and now I'm looking at it and I do not see a name on it. So either I was just going based on similar ones, or I might have to research that a little bit more, because I put the name in there, but that might not be accurate. Okay, so that's the first thing to investigate again. So basically it's a vintage, tie holder, tie rack. And I had said Sirocco, which is kind of a, it's made in Syracuse. It was definitely a vintage type thing, but it's usually made out of like a composite, like a resin composite. It always looks like fake wood and everything. So now I am kind of second guessing myself. Maybe I can see inside these holes. It kind of does look like that. It does not look like plaster or anything. There is white on the sides, but that's from when they painted the room. They painted right around this instead of taking it down. So yeah, maybe that was my original name was correct, but maybe I need to specify that it's unsigned. Maybe I did. I don't know. I got to look at the listing again. So anyway, I have sold these before, and when I look at Sirocco tie racks with horses, a lot of them have like a single horse. And this was one of the only ones with double. So the single one seemed to sell just fine. So I thought the double might, add some value or cause some interest or something like that. So let's just take a look at the listing real quick. Let me see if I even say in it that it's not marked. And then let's look at some of the other ones that are listed as well. Which makes sense because of the horse theme. But like I said, I've had no issues selling things like this before. So, obviously they can see in my photos that there's no markings on the back. So let's look at what I say. Double horse tie rack, vintage Sirocco wood necktie holder storage. Okay, here we go. No sticker identifying the maker, but the majority of these are by Sirocco. Okay, I'm not going crazy. I do know what I'm doing. The material is a composite wood pulp material. Feels a bit like chalkware. Yeah, so as I said, when you can see into those holes, chalkware would be white, but this one is that composite wood pulp, which that's what I was trying to explain earlier. Double horse head with accents painted in gold, which is kind of faded a little. I should add that. There's no chips or cracks. The painted wall, blah, blah, blah. Metal racks do have some corrosions, but they are smooth and won't snag. Measurements, contact us with questions. So I do think I had this on Etsy at some point and then moved it to eBay. So we'll see what we can do about that. Let's look at Worth Point, Sirocco, horse, and then tie. There's 198 sold, right? So you can see some that are like that, like the one I have. A lot of people have pretty dark photos. This nice light colored one sold for 20. That one sold for 30. 16, 15, 10, 21, 25. So I don't think my prices are off completely. 10, maybe a little high. 30. Okay. Anyway, so let's see what's available right now. Okay, mine's right up top. So there's 34 actives, kind of prices all over. As you can see, it's mostly the single horse head. There's a lot of those very similar. There's 2 horses. Okay, so we said there's 34 active. Let's go to solds. And there's only been 8 that have sold. So that sell-through is not that great. This one sold for 36, but it has that white horse on it, which I think has added to it. Here's another tie holder wall mount, $10 at auction, 16 for like a horse and rider, 40 for that one, 13, 11, 25, 27. So I just think it's the numbers are kind of against us. I thought maybe the double horse head would do it. I think what I can do though is maybe take the pictures over again and brighten them, get a little bit closer. I think this is a little bit too far away. So maybe my first picture can be something that fills the square a little bit more. So what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and end this one and relist it. I've only had 2 views in the last 30 days on it. And I will drop the price. It's at 30. I will go maybe to 20 to 25 for this one, maybe even just 20 to see if I can move it. Now my other thing that I can do is my husband is currently working on opening his Etsy shop that he had a few years ago, and it's called Metal and Tweed, and he had always just kind of focused on, I mean, we didn't come right out and market it that way, but we kind of focused on guy stuff on Etsy, and it seemed to do really, really well. It kind of seemed to be a market that was not as explored as much on Etsy. And so, I mean, that was a few years ago. And so, you know, we don't, obviously someone else, you know, they don't even have to use this for neckties. You know, maybe that's an idea. Think of other things that people could use it for. It could be a scarf holder, things like that. So anyway, you know, so we would put, he had actually sold quite a few neckties. So maybe once he gets some neckties listed and we'll get this over there, you know, the buyers for the neckties will also see this. So that is probably my most potential idea for it, is to cross post it over to his Etsy shop once he gets that up and running. But he was pretty close to getting that started. So that might be something we could do in the meantime. Okay, so those are my 5 items. This afternoon, I am going to right now go ahead and get to work on those things. I am going to take new pictures. I'm going to tweak the listings, and I'm going to get the listings ended and relisted and then cross-posted where I want to cross-post them to the degree I can today. And then I will be back. After I do all that, I will be back and I am going to show you the new listings really quickly. Okay, so we'll see you in a few. Okay, so here are my new listings, all freshened up. They were all 5 items were ended and then sold similar, and then I tweaked and made some changes. So here's my first one, the Bakelite handled steak knives. I took new pictures. I did one that the first one kind of fills the whole picture a little bit better. I got more of a close-up, and if you remember last time, it was a little bit blurry. You couldn't really even read the writing on the blades. So we got new pictures there. I changed the title. I put Lifetime Cutlery at the beginning. I added USA. I took out New Old Stock because a lot of people don't even know what that is, and it's just kind of taken up space in the title. And I added Jewel Edge as the feature of the knives, if that is important to anybody. I'm trying to think anything else. I might have added, I think I added a couple item specifics. I just double checked all of those. I added some information about the blade, the condition of the blade. They do have a little bit of, just from so many years of sitting out. There's a little bit of dulling to the finish there. Anyway, just kind of cleaned up the listing, broke up the readability of it a little bit. And when I took the new pictures, I cleaned out the dust in the, I don't think they were in the original picture, but I went ahead and cleaned the dust out so they're ready to go when they sell. And most importantly, I dropped the price. So we shall see. I just noticed that the free shipping is still there, which is not what I wanted to do. So I will, when the video is done, I will go back and fix that. Okay, next one. I took new pictures of my little Matilda girl. Just kind of a plain background, and hopefully they're a little bit more in focus than the other ones were. So just brand new background, just kind of makes it for sure it's like a brand new listing, and tried to get some more detailed pictures. Again, most importantly, dropped the price on that one to $25. And now I think I am probably one of the lowest ones that's listed, but probably more realistic. Same thing. I went ahead and just kind of broke up the description a little bit so it's easier to read. And I don't think I made any other changes to it other than that. So just new pictures, new price, new listing. This one, I didn't do new pictures. It's hard to get a picture of a large item like that, so I was okay with the ones I already had. And I did realize that there was a small dark mark on the back of it. I don't know what that was all about. Again, this is like an old listing. So I did make sure, I don't think the condition was filled out up here. So I made sure that was really clear. I did drop the price a little bit to $19.99. And yeah, you can see I kind of changed. That's so funny how I don't know. This was listed a while ago. I don't know why this font is so much smaller, but this is the new font that I added today, so that kind of looks funky. And I just kind of poked around. I added a few more item specifics. I do have Burlington as the brand. I could play around with throwing Vera Newman as the brand and just add something for maker. I don't know, but I changed the picture. So I kept the same pictures, but I did, like I said, and I switched up the main picture so that it's a little more eye-catching, hopefully. And I will cross-post this coming up. Here's my vase. I, for the most part, kept the same pictures. I just took one more new picture for the thumbnail. A little less glaring, reflection of the lights and things like that. And I dropped the price from like 70 down to 30. So I've got room to make offers and things like that. And I think my item specifics were actually pretty good on that one. I don't think I had to add much to it. And I just, the same thing, just broke up the description so it could be read a little bit easier. And then lastly, here's my tie holder. Brand new pictures on these. Got it dusted a little bit too. Dropped it to 20. I don't know how much the corrosion on the metal parts has been affecting its selling. That could be a factor. So we'll see. It might end up having to just go to the Etsy shop and maybe it'll do a little bit better there, but I may have to drop the price even further because of that condition issue. And let's see, I didn't have to add anything to condition. I didn't change the description very much. So anyway, okay, so that was number 5. Okay, so as you can see, I made all the changes. that I'm gonna do. I will grab my computer and hit the couch a little bit later and do some cross posting and get those onto other sites that we talked about. I was interrupted a little bit in my editing because my husband had gone out to do some errands to drop off our packages and stuff. And I said, go to the bins. And so he like texted me at one point and he goes, I have an idea for another YouTube video for you. You know, and his title was, I sent my husband to the bins and it was a mistake. So he came home with like a bunch of stuff. So we already had a bunch of stuff, but it's okay. If he wants to do that, that just gives me free rein to do what I want to do. Anyway, he got some good stuff. You know, it's the bins. So, you know, there's a couple exciting things in there that if we wash up, I'll either keep or we'll get a good price for if they clean up pretty well. And just, you know, kind of got a lot of good bread and butter, a lot of vintage Y2K type things, which the bins seem to be really good for. But anyway, all that aside, I went up to go see the things that he had gotten. But I made my changes and I'm super excited about this video and I'm super excited about this segment. If you enjoyed it, please go ahead and leave a thumbs up. Let me know if you'd like to see a segment like this again. I think it would be good for me because it definitely made me take a look at some listings that have just been sitting for a long time. I know I've got a bunch of new stuff that needs to get listed, but I am not opposed to going back and tweaking and figuring out what went wrong with some of these older listings. So anyway, if you have any other suggestions too, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any ideas of where some of these things would sell better or keywords that I could use, I'm always open to that. So hopefully you'll see some of these things in our upcoming What Sold videos. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I have a What Sold that usually comes out every Tuesday when I can follow a schedule. Anyway, thanks guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon.